Hey, what's up, Dance Fam? Welcome to Dance Chats with me, your host, Ashley Rich. This podcast is exclusively for dance parents. So, from choosing dance studios to tips on supporting your dancer, this is your one-stop shop to help you navigate your child's dance journey with wisdom, grace, and purpose. So, with that, let's jump in. Hi, Dance Fam. Welcome back to Dance Chats. I hope you're all doing amazing. We are in part 2 of our competition series, and as we head into nationals this summer, I hope to deliver you some great tools and insight to make nationals even better. So with that thought in mind, today we will be chatting about how to navigate awards at competition, the good, the bad, and the uncomfortable with a great mindset. And helping me with today's episode is the amazing Ashley Mowrey. She is a former competitive dancer, dance educator, and director of a competitive dance company. And she currently is a dance mindset coach who truly believes in helping dancers calm their mind, cultivate self-confidence, clarify needs, values, and goals. So if you know me by now, these things are super important to me and my dance company, A Rich Dance. So I thought it would be amazing to have her on and get some insider tips and perspective. So welcome, Ashley, and I'm just super excited to have you on today's episode.
Thanks so much, Ashley. I'm so glad to be here.
Of course. You are officially a part of the Dance Chats family now, so you're stuck with us.
I'm so excited. I've been loving your podcast so far, so I'm very excited to be here.
Oh, thank you. Can you please tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so as you said, I was a competitive dancer. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, where the comp scene can be pretty big and, pretty intense. And so dance was my whole world growing up. I loved dance. I was always at the studio. But starting in my preteen, teenage years, I really started to struggle with my mindset. And I was really hard on myself. I was quite a perfectionist. And just I didn't really have the coping strategies to deal with the pressure and the feedback that comes with being a competitive dancer. But at that time, I just thought it was me. And I thought, maybe I need thicker skin. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. And so I just got really burnt out by the time I was 18 and thought, I don't know if I want to dance anymore. So I went to college and I got my degree in psychology and I started teaching dance while I was in college. And I fell in love with teaching and did that for about 10 years and loved my competitive kids. I ended up directing the competitive program for a few years. And I kept seeing these same things come up in my dancers. We would go to competition and they would just get so nervous before they went on stage and not know what to do with those nerves. I would watch as we would go to convention and they would just compare themselves or shrink themselves. And I just thought, what are we doing as a dance community and dance educators to support dancers with their mindset? So after a lot of self-reflection and soul searching, I decided to switch gears and become a certified life and mindset coach for dancers. So now I work with dancers one-on-one virtually, and I also do group workshops for studios and companies. And then I'm also on faculty for Embodied Dance Conference, a new dance convention where I do mindset seminars there too.
I mean, how amazing is that? I feel like so many dancers and even dance teachers now can resonate with your story because we've all been there. And I think you're so right. There's not very many resources for dancers. Sometimes I feel like parents don't even realize how important the mindset piece is, because if the mindset's not there, if it's not in the correct space, then they're not going to enjoy competition. It's just right? And then we're focusing on the wrong thing. So I love everything that you just said. Like, my heart was beaming. So, guys, what a gift we have on this podcast today. Okay, so for our first topic, I just wanted us to start out with giving you guys some tips or just a little bit of a different perspective advice on how you should head into awards. I mean, let's be real. That's why I said the good, the bad, and the uncomfortable, because all of those things happen during competition, the awards especially, and how can we better navigate that? So I would love to just encourage you guys to remind your dancers that their worth is not tied in whatever award they get. Like if they go in there with that mindset that, you know, how they place is going to be their whole world, they're going to go in there and be disappointed.
Yeah.
So it's so good to just remind them, take a second, you know, before they go on stage and with all 50,000 dancers for awards, and just say, hey, I'm so proud of you and you did great.
Yes.
And no matter what you place, I'm super proud of you and your worth is not tied in whatever award you get. And then they're going to go on stage and feel like, okay, I got this regardless, you know? I mean, my mom
Yeah.
used to do that when I was little. I always talk about my mom because she did these things. She's like, you're in the corner eating M&Ms, like not really tripping off of what you got. And I was like, well, that's because you told me no matter what, I was good and we were going to get to go hang
Yes.
out after. So
Yep.
it's so true, right? So that's my little 2 cents. What do you have to add to that,
Yeah.
Ashley?
Oh, I love that so much, Ashley. I think, you're so right. I always say like feedback is important, but it's not a reflection of your self-worth. And that's just, I mean, like your parents, your dancers need to hear that every day. And especially going into these awards. And so I think my advice is so even before you get to competition, like just in day-to-day life, like your dancer is going to pick up on how you talk about awards, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
the importance that you're placing in them, if that is where they see your attention going, or if you and the other dance parents are constantly like talking about who got what, or oh, this person this beat this person this week, your kid's going to pick up on that and say, oh, that must be what's important here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like that's a good reminder. It's just like, be intentional about like where you want the attention and the purpose to be during competition weekends, and think about where else you can put your attention other than the awards.
I love that. That is so good. Oh, intentionality, being purposeful. I think that's so good. And just making sure that your dancer can walk away from the awards or the whole competition experience feeling like, I had a great time and I learned, and being excited about the feedback they're going to get, right? So
Yes.
that's
Yep.
awesome. So for our next topic, I wanted to ask Ashley, what would you tell a parent to do if their child scores super high in terms of the awards and places well? Like, what should they, like following up or debriefing, what should they do?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, I think, and we'll talk about this as we go on, but I think no matter how your kiddo does, it's like you are so proud of them no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we already talked about. So I think, having that positive reaction, being proud of them for even just getting up there. And then if they do place well, I am reminded of, so Carol Dweck is the psychologist and research that coined the terms growth mindset and fixed mindset. And
Mm-hmm.
so, growth mindset is the belief that our traits, our qualities, our abilities can all be developed and cultivated with effort and persistence and help from others.
Mm-hmm.
And fixed mindset is the belief of like the natural talent, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you either got it or you don't, and it's hard to change it, right? And so in her research, she talks about how it's really important when we have favorable outcomes to help young competitors connect those favorable outcomes to the process that got them there.
Ooh, I love
So
that.
the process meaning hard work,
Mm-hmm.
effective strategies that they've tried,
Mm-hmm.
how have they been rehearsing, what have they been doing to get them there, and then also Dweck says that to make sure that they connect it also to the help that they got from others. So the help that they got from their teachers and
Mm-hmm.
from their mentors and from their peers, whoever it is, and really help them see that that process is what helped them get there to that favorable outcome.
Wow. That was the most epic answer ever. No, so many good nuggets in there. I love that. I'm reminding them of the process because I feel like,
Mhm.
and I spoke about this on my last podcast episode, that the parents are seeing a finished product. And
Yep.
sometimes we don't acknowledge like everything and everyone that it took just to get
Yes.
that like 3-minute dance on stage, right?
Absolutely.
So I
Yeah.
love that. It's like reminding them, like, you did great. You put in your work for the last however many months to get on stage, and this is the outcome, and that's incredible. But like, let's be excited also for the process that
Yes.
got you there. And I think something else that's super important is saying thank you to your teachers because they're such a part of it. And I think
Yep.
sometimes they teachers kind of get lost in the shuffle unless you do
Hmm.
really great or if it's like negative. And I
Right.
want
Hmm.
let's like normalize being appreciative of their teachers regardless. I mean, parents, I know you're probably like, what? But it's such a weird dynamic watching your choreography on stage because you're
Yep.
literally, it's like an out of body experience. You
It
have no control.
is. It
And you're
is.
like,
It. Mhm. Yep. I remember the first time. I remember driving the first time I was going to see my own choreography on stage. And I remember it just dawned on me like, oh, I'm about to like show this to other people. Like,
mm-hmm.
and it's a very vulnerable thing to do. So I love that you touched on that of like appreciating the teachers, like regardless of how it places or how it does, those teachers are working really hard and really, providing this education for your dancers.
Yes, no, I love that. I think that that's awesome. And then one thing is to just to remember like your child can do great at one comp and then might not do
Mm-hmm.
great at the next. But remember, you have judges who have different perspectives.
Yep.
It's a thing that's really opinion based, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on their background too. Like how
Yep.
did your judges train? What style are they proficient in? Like there's so many variables that you cannot that's why we say don't place your worth
Yep.
in it. I think it's great for feedback and to get the opinion
Mm-hmm.
of others, but to think of it as a positive, like, oh, this judge has a different perspective. This judge has a different
Yep.
perspective. And, one of my bosses said this to me and I love it and I overuse it is chew the meat and spit out the bones. So the things
Ooh.
that so good, right? Like
Yeah,
the,
that's
the
really
things
good.
that are good and can help you get to that next
Yep.
level wherever your goals are, great. The things that don't serve you, forget it.
Yes.
We don't have to
Yes.
stay in that place.
Yes.
So I
I
love
love that.
that. So good. Yes, 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 yes. All the yeses.
All the
Okay.
yeses.
So for our third topic, I think that we'll probably spend a little bit more time on this one. What do you think a parent should do if their child doesn't do the best or if they don't place where they thought or expected they should place? How should a parent handle that or tackle that? Because I think that's the super sensitive one. It's great
Yeah.
when they do well. It's like easier to handle, yes.
Hmm.
But then like when they come off stage and they could be crying after award
Yep.
session, or one of their friends placed higher than them. When they get older, teens are
Yep.
like gets a little bit more competitive. How should they handle that?
Yeah. So I say always lead with empathy. And I know, so as a parent myself, and then just like as a dance educator, I know it can be really hard because you have your own perspective and you have like, well, I, me myself, I probably have thoughts of like, well, this isn't that big of a deal, or like, come on, let's, get it positive again, or like, I'm trying to like silver line it for them, or like, at least you placed, or at least, but what I've learned through coaching is not to do that, and to instead meet them exactly where they are. And so empathy would be like being able to really see their perspective, and see how they are experiencing it and avoid things like fixing it.
Mm,
Right, we don't need to fix it as their parent. Like our job is not to fix these big feelings. Our job is to help equip them with the tools to navigate this themselves. And so avoid trying to fix it and really meeting them where they are and understanding their perspective and validating their feelings. Like if they are crying, if they are upset, something really simple of just like reflecting back, like, I see you're really upset and that this is really hard. I'm here for you.
mm.
Like that's sometimes that is enough to, really just let them feel validated in their feelings and have that moment. And, I know sometimes parents are like, well, there's not time for that because we gotta, go to the next, the next dance. And like, I totally get that. I think, a couple of things could help is if you know that your kiddo is somebody who tends to get upset. after
Mm-hmm.
awards. This could be a conversation to have, before competition, like the week
Mm-hmm.
before, of, hey, I just want to check in with you. I can see that sometimes you get upset after awards, and that's totally okay. You can ask them, like, what would feel supportive in those moments, and
Mm.
see, what they need in those moments. And they might just like look at you and not, have any idea. But that's okay
Yep.
too,
The blank
and you can
stare.
always go with, okay, well, this is what helps me when I'm, in that position, or help them brainstorm stuff. And then really also to giving them, like, again, before competition, saying, it looks like you have a really quick transition after this award ceremony. um can we, like, what if we make a plan to, if anything does come up or any big feelings come up, that, we will hug it out. You can have a moment in the bathroom, and then we're going to transition back, and then later that night, I promise, like, we can rehash it if you want, or we can, you can have your time and space to feel all of those feelings, when we have that actual time and space for that. So yeah, that's where I would begin, is just validating their feelings, letting them feel those things, not trying to fix it. And then also, like, you can set boundaries if their behaviors are not acceptable, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
um what I hear, and what I've also, experienced as a parent, is like, okay, yes, feelings are, I'm wanting to welcome the feelings, but what if their behaviors are just, like, not acceptable? Like, they're storming off, they're being rude to their peers, and that's totally okay to set those boundaries and say, I see you're really upset. It's okay to be upset. It's not okay to treat your friends like this. And,
Mm-hmm.
and then help them, ask them what would be supportive right then. What do they need to help them calm down and get into a more resourceful mindset?
I love that. Even like when you, it's like noticing the pattern. if you,
Yes.
I love that because we all have different personalities and temperaments, right? So I think it's good
Yeah.
knowing, like, all right, I've seen this a few times. Let me address it before we even get to competition so that we can try to prepare better for it. And just knowing
Yep.
that, okay, they get really affected by this. How can I support them better? And I love that you are saying to actually vocalize that to their child. It's so
Yeah.
good for them to feel that support in that
Mm-hmm.
way. I think is great. And I feel like that will take a weight off their shoulders. Because in
Yeah.
my experience teaching for so many years, I feel like sometimes dancers really want to prove to their parents that they are great dancers. So I think
Yes.
just releasing them of that and just saying, hey,
Yes.
how can I better support you? I'm excited to see you perform. I have noticed that you've been a little upset after some award ceremonies, and I want to help you get through that better. How can I do
Yeah.
that? I feel like it would alleviate a lot of stress because I think a lot of
Yes.
times kids are sitting on stage waiting for their awards, like, what did I place? And then I've just seen it so
Yes.
many times as a teacher, as a judge, going to support other dancers is just seeing their shoulders shrug when they feel like they didn't get
Yes.
because they don't want to let down their parent or their dance teacher or their studio owner. And if we could better support them through that, that would be so much better because it's so not about
Yep.
us.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
really about them and the hard
Yeah.
work that they've put in. So if we could just remind them, like, hey, you're not doing this for me. I'm here to
Yeah.
support you and see you do your thing
Yes.
and share your gift. Like that's more important,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I love all of that, especially the fix it part. I am definitely a fixer. So
Yeah.
I
Me
just like
too.
reminding myself in my head, like, I needed that. Thank you for that. You can't fix
Yes.
everything.
Yeah.
You can't shield them from feeling things either. You can just help them
Yeah.
navigate it.
Yep.
So good. And one thing I love that you touched on is the negative behaviors. Like what do you do
Yeah.
if they're being rude to
Mm-hmm.
you, their parent, and being
Yep.
rude to others, I think it's just reminding them to be respectful in those moments. You can feel how you feel, and we talk about
Yep.
this a lot in my current season of life with the kiddos. It's just like reminding them you can be upset, but you don't need to
Yeah.
be disrespectful.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Right? Like we're all here to
Absolutely.
support you. So how can we do this in a non-disrespectful way? Or
Yep.
you need to be respectful to your peers because they're part of your team. You need to be in unity, especially if you're dancing on stage with them, right?
Yep.
It makes for a better experience. So I think just reminding them that respect factor, like you want respect, I also want you to respect others. And I think that's a great boundary to have. It's validating their feelings. Like, yes, you're upset, but you don't have to react in that way, right? So,
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And then helping
mhm.
them with those tools to calm down if they need, right? Like,
Mhm.
and if you don't know where to start, I mean, just even like thinking of things that help you yourself calm down. And, whether it's like some deep breathing or getting some space or taking a quick walk around wherever you are,
Mhm.
and really helping them because, yeah, our goal as parents and even as educators too is not to like protect them from these things. Like, if they don't know how to manage these things as adults, that's going to be really hard and it's going to be hard to navigate those ups and downs. And so our goal is to help them experience these things and support them along the way and helping them learn for themselves how to manage these feelings and how to cope with all of these ups and downs as a competitive dancer.
Oh, thank you for that. No, seriously, I love that. Taking it back to yourself, like, what makes me feel better?
Yeah.
What calms me down, And just like maybe offering some tips, like, this is what I do when I'm upset,
Mm-hmm.
not trying to tell them, like, this is what you should do. But in my experience, when I'm having a
Mm-hmm.
meltdown or if I'm disappointed in an outcome, this is what I do?
Yes.
And I love the walk around. I think sometimes when you're watching competition all day, you get stuck in the vortex. I think
Oh
it's good
yeah.
to
Like
leave the
time does
building.
not exist.
It does not at all. It's so good to like go outside,
Yes, go
fresh
get some
air.
fresh air for like 5 minutes. Yes,
Yes.
I mean it can, and go take a walk,
Hmm.
and go get some fresh air, and like even just moving your body in a walk can really help, help process those big feelings. So yeah,
100%. So good. Leave the building for a few minutes
leave the building. Yes,
every other hour.
yes. Remember that there's like life outside of this dance competition. Is so important for us all. I mean, and I'm saying this like for myself too.
Yes.
Is like when you're there, it's like this is the only thing that matters, and like
Yes.
it is important, but there's life outside of it.
Definitely. I love that. Well, I am loving all of these things. I feel like I'm like taking them into like, okay, these are things that I need to remember too. But for our closing, what advice would you give parents just like overall with awards and how to better navigate it and support their dancer? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I think, echoing on what we were talking about earlier, as far as reminding your dancer that dance is subjective,
Hmm.
that this is the opinion of three people, and that's great. We want to hear their opinion. That's why we're here.
Of
But it
course.
is subjective, and I always work with dancers. And I think parents can be doing this too with their dancer is like seeing the feedback and the critiques and the judges' scores as information. And,
Mm.
as you said earlier, it's information about the judges too, right? Like it's
Yeah.
information
Yes.
about like their background, their training, their perspectives, their preferences,
Hmm.
what they like, what they don't like. And then what of that do I want to use to inform me in my own craft and my own dance journey? But reminding yourself that again, it's not that reflection of your worth. It's
Yes.
information to help support your dance growth.
Hmm. Oh my gosh, so good. Because yes, we are at comp to get feedback and to perform and get all these experiences, but we have to remember what it is.
Yeah,
And I feel like the feedback is good. And just like we're all different humans, you're going to get different feedback from different judges in
yep,
the same way, right? There's more talkative
absolutely.
people. There's the ones that are quieter. There's ones that are going to be like, yes, you did so great. And maybe that's it. You just have to kind of take it all in. To me, you're getting positive feedback or feedback that can help you grow. And it's just remembering that, right? It's
Yeah,
information. I love
absolutely.
that. I love, love, love that. Mine is really simple. Just remember that you're setting an example for them. And you
Yes.
definitely said this in the beginning that they're
Yeah.
watching everything that you do and how you talk about awards, right? Like you said earlier about talking positively. If they hear you talk negative about awards or who got what, that's what they're going to
Mm-hmm.
focus on. If you just keep talking about, positivity and I'm so excited to see you perform and just having a different language around them, I think that will go a long way. And I loved when my mom and I would talk about other dances that we thought were amazing. And
Yes,
and
absolutely.
even seeing her be like, you did great to other dancers, I'd be like, Oh, okay. It reminds them that there's space for everybody's gift. This is not the
Yes.
competition of life. This is a competition to better ourselves in that moment, but it's not
Yes.
the end all be all.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
there's room for everyone. And I think that
Yeah.
that's a really great thing to remember, because these are going to be dancers that if they continue to dance into like a professional career, they might see them.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
awesome to start, cultivating these friendships now. And if they see that you're talking to other dance moms that don't go to your studio and you're like, oh, hey, your child did great. First of all, I think it's just going to create a space at the competition that is like positive, and that we
Yep.
can be healthy competitors without being cutthroat and crazy.
Yes.
But
Yep.
also, it's going to show the dancers like, oh, I can be cool with this other studio. I don't have to
Yes.
feel like it's my studio against yours. So
Yes. Yep.
just reminding guys, you guys set the example. So like, let's try to do our best to keep it a positive example. Yeah, because you guys are great. And I think it's just these things that we're offering are just reminders, just to get through the
Yeah.
good, the bad, the awkward, and all of the things, right? But Ashley, I am just so grateful for you. Parents, I hope you realize like what a gift Ashley is. There's not a lot of dance educators, dance mindset coaches that are really like in it to help dancers just have an overall better experience on their journey. And these things in dance are going to translate to their life. So even if they don't
Hmm.
continue to dance, these mindset exercises are so good for them. So we appreciate you here on this
Thank
podcast.
you, Ashley.
You're
I'm so happy to be here. And I love that you're doing this podcast for parents. I think it's so
oh,
amazing.
thank you. Now, I definitely want you to be a resource for parents. So please tell them how they can get in contact with you, how they can see your content, all of the things, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I post so many resources on my Instagram for
Mm-hmm.
dancers and dance educators and dance parents. And so that my handle is at ashley.mowrey.mindset, and you can follow
Mm-hmm.
me there. And then my website is ashleymowrey.com, and I have all of my coaching info on there. I have a few different offers. I have a special package right now for dancers prepping for nationals. That's called Roadmap to Nationals, and it's an 8 session process to help them clarify goals that are important to them and then make a roadmap on how to get there, along with the mindset skills to handle the ups and downs and the bumps and the detours. And then I also do a one-time mindset prep session, that if they just have like an audition or a big competition coming up, it's a 1 hour session to help them prep for that. And then I also offer a 6 session coaching package that's just my standard coaching package if your dancer needs some extra support in building confidence, building mental strength, clarifying their goals and their values, and calming, any performance anxiety stuff that's coming up. That's all stuff that we work on in the 6 session package as well. So you can find that at ashleymowrey.com.
Love it. You are a special gem in this dance community. We need you. And I'm so glad you're here. Oh, so
Oh, thank you
parents,
so much.
please check out Ashley's resources, her website, her Instagram. She has amazing things to offer, and it's so important. I'm going to keep preaching this every single episode, no matter what it's about. Mindset is everything, everything. So, that concludes this episode. But before we go, I wanted to make sure that you guys know about Summer of Purpose, which is my first in-person summer intensive this summer and NYC. And the dates are July 22nd through the 24th. We are going to have 4 styles, all fusion. We're going to have goal setting, mentoring, and it's going to be amazing. You do not want to miss out. So please check that out on my website, arichdance.com. Please email me at ashley@arichdance.com if you need anything or if you have any questions about anything. I am here for you. So please stay tuned for our next episode. We're going to be talking about what dancers should be focusing on this summer to go into the fall season their best. So thank you for listening. I hope you all have an amazing day. Lots of love. Bye. Well, Dance Fam, once again, my name is Ashley Rich, and I want to thank you for listening to Dance Chats, the podcast that helps dance parents navigate their child's dance journey with wisdom, grace, and purpose. To connect with me, you can find me on Instagram at Dance Chats Podcast or on my website, www.arichdance.com. I have so many offerings that have been built to help dancers become their best, so check it out. Until next time, lots of love.